Hey, what's up, everyone? You're listening to Jack of One Trade. I'm your host, Morgan Woodington. I am joined here today by
Shawn Bryant. I am a student at Thomas Nelson, and I'm the secretary for the Student Government Association.
It's so awesome to have you today, Shawn. And I see that you brought an instrument with you. So one of the things I want to talk about on our podcast today is music, and specifically about what inspires you to play music.
What inspires me, I think it is a natural passion that I have for singing, for playing guitar, for creating music and using my talent in that way, which I think I had gotten from my father, who's the owner of this instrument that I have. When he passed away several years ago, I kind of took over all of his, what am I trying to say? When he passed away a few years ago, I took dominion over all of his instruments. I just kind of claimed them as my own. So I have several of his guitars, and I had a saxophone for a while, but
that's cool.
Figured out how to play it.
Yeah, saxophone, that's it's always been a weird instrument, in my opinion. I don't know a lot about a lot of the jazz instruments, and I think that jazz music is really neat. I know it's really intricate. And it does have a really neat sound to it, but as far as the instruments that are used in it, I know nothing about them.
The joke is that like jazz is music for musicians and nobody else cares or likes it at all.
Yeah.
I like to listen to it to study, but yeah, it's a little too intelligent for me, I think.
Right. Like it goes a little beyond the normal popular music with the same beat in the background.
Too highbrow. So
you got your guitar with you today, and I know that y'all can't see it on the podcast because it's a podcast for speaking. But the guitar that he's holding, it's a little bit smaller, so it's more of a travel guitar, and I would say it's about the size of a violin with a very long handle, if I had to describe it.
Yeah, it's super long neck. It is probably about 3 feet. It's a little triangular shaped. It's made by Martin. It's called a backpacker guitar. It's light and specifically made to travel with, like you mentioned. It's one of my dad's guitars, too.
That's very cool. So do you know, is there any history behind backpacker guitars? Like, are they known? I know you said that they're for traveling with, but like if people specifically made them to travel with, or was it an accident? Somebody made a small guitar and they were like, hey, this is awesome. We can carry this easier.
From what I know, it is made specifically to be easy to travel with and still have a decent sound.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know it does have quite a clear sound because you played it for me earlier, and I didn't expect all of that sound to come out of that small instrument, but then you played, and if you could play a chord on it just so we could hear. So it's really clear. It's really loud. I mean, I just don't expect that because I have an electric guitar, and of course it doesn't have any of that room for acoustics. I guess that's how I would say it. It doesn't have that space behind the strings because it's solid board with strings. So it's a lot quieter. Unless it's hooked up to the amp, I can't hear it at all.
Yeah.
It's very silent.
So you need that body to give the sound waves something to resonate in, and then it amplifies it, and then they go out through the sound hole.
Right.
The electric guitar, you have your electronic pickups that take care of that whole process for you, which is why you have to plug it in, which I'm sure you knew already.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, don't know too much about it. I'm fairly new to electric guitar. I got it recently. It was one of my dad's friends that had this guitar for a while. His son had it, and he said that his son didn't want it anymore, so that I could take it, and I've been playing on it for a little while, but I don't know all that much about playing guitars. So if you could tell me a little bit about guitar playing, that would be awesome. Like, when you play guitar, do you do finger style, or do you play with a pick?
So I want to say this before we get too far into the podcast, is that I'm not very good.
I think you are. Okay, I beg to differ. He's good, guys. He's good. Because I heard you playing earlier when you came in, and it sounded good to me.
Thank you. I don't use a pick. I find it really cumbersome. and I've tried to practice more just to be like a more well-rounded musician. But no, I use my fingers. I finger pick. Here. That kind of thing. I find it much more natural to be close to the strings and have control over them.
Mm-hmm. One thing I've noticed about acoustic guitars I think is really cool is compared to my electric, and don't get me wrong, I love my electric guitar, but compared to my electric, it actually, there's no other way I can possibly describe it, but it feels alive. Like it's almost a warm feeling when you hold an acoustic guitar, because I don't know if it's the sound waves, I don't know the science behind that, but when you have it like up against your body and you're playing it, it just feels like it's a living instrument. That's a weird way to put it, I know, but it's a little bit different. It's more of a warm feeling compared to more of your electric instruments, which are still really cool. They have much more of a powerful feel to them, but acoustic, it's a vibe. Acoustic, it's a vibe of its own. They even have on the radio, when some of the radio stations go acoustic, it's just completely different hearing acoustic music compared to what you would normally hear on the radio, which is a mix of both.
Yeah, I would say probably if you ask any guitarist, they'll say there's like a whole world of difference between the two styles. I don't think it's weird to talk about feeling your instrument like it's alive, because I think that's very accurate. You said you had a larger acoustic guitar. I have one of those big dreadnought guitars, that's what they're called, which is really funny. And when you play the low notes on it, you can feel it vibrate in your chest as it resonates.
Right.
And it's a feeling of closeness, I think, that is at least different for me, kind of absent from playing it electric.
Mm-hmm. I mean, with the electric, you get some of that from the the amp. You get some of that, like the resonance and the sound and the deeper notes. You can feel some of those sound waves from the amp, and that's really cool. But it's not the same as an acoustic. It's just so much more of a warm, rich sound. That's really the only way I can think to put it. It's hard to describe. You kind of have to feel it.
Yeah. Another thing about the difference too is that I think you have to be a much better guitar player when you play electric, just because of how loud it can get. Oh my gosh,
yeah. When I play notes wrong on that thing, everybody hears. Everybody, like the neighbors' neighbors, their cousins miles away, everybody knows.
When you're practicing, most amps have a headphone jack, so you can plug that in and listen to yourself and not broadcast your
failures. Yeah. So when you play music on your guitar, what sorts of music do you usually play? Like, is there a specific genre that you play, or is it just kind of whatever you're feeling at the time?
Yeah, okay. Well, personally, I like punk music. I've never been good at playing punk music.
It's okay. I like metal, but I cannot scream for anything.
Yeah.
I can't.
So when I actually play guitar, I usually play, and I started playing so that I could sing along. And that lends itself well to probably country music. So especially in the last few years, I found a lot of inspiration from the Carter family, Johnny Cash.
Oh my gosh, they're so cool.
Yeah.
I found a lot of people, even if they don't listen to country, they say they don't listen to country music, a lot of people would say they listen to Johnny Cash. I almost feel like he's a different genre on his own.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. There's a lot of early country music, like the two of them, and Johnny Cash was really closely connected to the Carter family. He married one of their family members.
Right. So June Carter?
Yeah, that's her, June Carter Cash. So they played folk music, and they played gospel music and American ballads, things that had been played in the country for since there was a country. Oh, you're fine. It's okay. I think that a lot of people can notice that, like they recognize it, that there's this sort of deep Americana sort of connection that you feel with that kind of music.
Yeah, a little bit of a history connected to it. It's really cool.
You mentioned Johnny Cash. Oh no, I'm going to sound bad.
It's okay.
I'm so nervous.
You're fine. Start over. It's good.
Cool. close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Oh my gosh, that is so good.
Thank you.
I love that song too. That's a really classic Johnny Cash song. That one and Ring of Fire. A lot of people have heard that song before. Like I said, even if they don't listen to country music, a lot of people know about Johnny Cash.
That's true, yeah.
It's very cool. So I imagine that's one of the artists that you look up to is Johnny Cash, because you just played the piece there, I'm just assuming. But are there any other artists that you look up to or listen to when you're working on your music? What artists in modern times inspire you? Or in the past, you have people like Johnny Cash from older artists that maybe passed away that you're inspired by their music still?
I would say like another big inspiration for me would be a guitarist and songwriter named Ani DeFranco. She became popular probably in the late 90s with her like really percussive style of finger picking, and I have always just thought it was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
So let's see. I can do it. Wait, let me try one more time. Can't sing with that one because it takes so much effort.
It's okay. I'm just over here. I'm like starry-eyed at this. That is so cool. I've never seen that done before on the guitar. That percussive, whatever you just did. Yeah. It's really cool.
So she does a lot of hammer-ons and just like slams her hand against the guitar, which is so cool. She's the greatest. You should look her up. She writes a lot of like. Well, she became famous for being an out-and-out feminist and bisexual, and kind of people in the folk genre weren't really used to somebody being their complete forward self that way.
Right, and being open about it.
Yeah, for sure. She's a very skilled guitarist, and lately she's been reaching back to a lot of that Americana, like we talked a lot before, singing old folk songs and union work songs and things like that.
Mm-hmm. That's really, really cool. There's a lot of things on YouTube that I'll find just people playing, like, I play piano too, so I'll find people playing piano or guitar, and it's just inspirational to see other people playing stuff. I find that I get inspired by other inspiring things. But you got your instrument here, and you played it a few times, and you're really good at it. So if you want to, I'm going to open up the floor. If you have any songs that you'd like to play, that would be awesome. Or if you just want to talk about some of the stuff you play, that's fine too. I'm happy to listen.
Sure. So I got into songwriting as an art. Look at these. They're like dirty.
No, it's okay. They look really cool. And again, no, y'all can't see it on the podcast, but these look like something out of Indiana Jones. Like they're colored, like they look old.
There's like coffee stains on them and shit. Yeah, so I got into it kind of naturally, I think as an extension of my music playing and the sort of songs that I liked, almost as a form of like journaling, really. So a lot of these are too weird and personal to sing here. But
it's okay, those are the best songs.
Let's see. There's a great open space where the future is lain. Flowers bloom and grass moves in waves. In that great open pasture, it's a promise I'm after. The promise of a future with you. There are days when dying seems better than trying. The nights I think I'm already dead. There's a sunrise tomorrow, and a shoulder to borrow, and an arm to heave myself out of bed. The pull of the grave only gets stronger every day. That's only so long I can stay. But before I can leave here, I must answer to you, dear, and fill that pasture promise I have made.
Oh my God. That's a really deep song, but it's like, it sounds so happy at the same time.
Yeah, sorry to just like drop that on you.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's really good. It sounds, there's just so much poetry in it too, with the words that you just sang the lyrics in that song, so that's really neat. Kind of sets a picture in your mind as you're listening to it.
Yeah. You asked me about inspirations that were more modern. I mentioned Ani. I would say also the Jeff Mangum. I can never say his name right. The Neutral Milk Hotel dude. I always really loved the poetic nature of his lyrics, and I think I found a lot of inspiration in that. Also in the fact that the guitar parts that he plays they're pretty simple and straightforward.
Yeah, I actually, from the music you just played, it actually made me think a little bit of "I'll Follow You Into the Dark" by Death Cab for Cutie. Like it totally had that vibe of "I'll stay with you," but it's really, really tough out here.
Right? Yeah. Let's see if I can remember how that goes. Do you remember?
I think it's "Love of Mine."
Oh, love of mine, someday you will die. I'll be close behind. I'll follow you into the dark. No blinding lights, tunnels to gates of white. Just our hands clasped so tight, looking for the hint of a spark. Yeah. And if heaven and hell decide, they both are satisfied and illuminate the nose on their vacancy signs. If there's no one beside you when your soul embarks, AG, then I'll follow you into the dark.
Love that song so much.
It's so sweet.
And you sing it so well, too. You sound just like the singer.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's kind of you. Thank you.
I see you got another sheet there. So have you written another piece?
Yeah. Let's see. This one I'm not sure I can sing. I wrote it such a long time ago. Don't give me room to roam. Oh, now that I know we're each other's own. Don't give me space. I wanna see your pretty face and hold you close when you come home. Oh, I've been saying this forever. I could live and be happy with you as long as we kiss every night and afternoon and every day. Every day, every day.
I'm obsessed with the guitar in that one.
What did you like about it?
I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know guitar well enough, but just the chords that you had in between, they're really clear, crisp, and powerful in between the lyrics. I think it's really cool.
Thank you. I stole this one. I stole that from Ani DeFranco.
It's okay. You implemented it well into the song.
Thank you.
It's an important part, right? Your music is very, very neat and very inspiring. So I'd actually, if you don't have anything else to add to our podcast here, I'd actually like to end it by asking you, for other people that play music, just as a hobby or even as going towards a career, what words would you have for them? What advice would you give future musicians or just people that play as a hobby?
Oh, sure. And that's me. I play for a hobby, and I play, like I said, as a form of like connection with myself, really. I would say you're never going to get good at anything you hate doing. So find something you like to play that is fun for you, that you're passionate about, and things will roll out naturally from there, from your place of passion.
I completely agree with that. Mm-hmm. All right, I'm going to wrap up our podcast. Thank you for listening to Jack of One Trade, and thank you so much, Shawn, for being here today.
Yeah.